What's up, YouTube? Today we're going to be looking at 11 top teams for the Open Great League. It is the third to last week of the season, which means we really need to start pushing for Legend. Before we hop into those teams, I want to say a special thank you to the expert trainer members on this channel, Benny Hemlock, Dr. Ian Mustache, and Soham Patil, as well as the Legend trainer members on this channel, Big Burden, Andrew Pitton, Moosechu, Noodleman, Speedster, Estros, and Liminal, Lagamore, and Tom Spencer. A quick look at the meta before we look at the teams. We've got Diggersby at rank 1, Fortress at 2, Scizor at 3, the brand new Shadow Giratina Altered at number 4, Lapras at 5, Gligar at 6, Gelatin at 7, Primeape at 8, Dusclops at 9, Jumpluff at 10, Manabuzz at 12, Gliscod at 13, Corsola at 14, Samurott at 15, Corviknight at 16, Steelix at 17, Feraligatr at 18, Gastrodon at 19, and once again a Giratina, but this time with a Dragon Breath. So let's take a look at some top teams. So team number 1 is an ABC style team that has been used to hit Legend by many trainers throughout the season. It's also a very common team that you can expect to encounter. The thought behind this team is that Scizor has only one weakness, and that weakness is a double weakness to fire. Both Pokemon in the back play well into the majority of the fire type Pokemon. Credilli as a rock type has Rock Tomb to hit for super effective damage, and it neutralizes fire damage with its rock typing. Azumarill resists fire damage and hits for super effective damage with its fast move Bubble. Both Pokemon in the back also have flyer coverage for Pokemon like Manabuzz or Moltres, which Scizor can hit for with its charge moves because both Night Slash and Trailblaze are resisted. The next team we're going to take a look at is another ABC style line that I actually used for my best win streak of the season. The idea behind this team is simple. Stunfisk is weak to ground, grass, water, and ice, so Gliscod makes a great safe swap because it resists ground, water, and ice and neutralizes grass, and it can hit grass and ground for super effective damage. Gliscod, on the other hand, is weak to electric, flying, and rock. Conveniently, Stunfisk resists all three of those, making them a nearly perfect core defensively. However, offensively, Alolan Ninetales and Stunfisk have a nearly perfect core. Ice and Electric can hit neutral into every single type combination in the game except for Electric/Steel, which conveniently Stunfisk beats with its ground typing. And this is actually the same for the Fairy coverage on Ninetales. If you opt for it over Side Shock, Fairy and ground can hit nearly every type combination in the game for at least neutral damage, except for fire and flying, which core breaks that. But once again, Stunfisk electric typing covers that. So a very, very solid team in my opinion. The next team, team number 3, is also an ABC style team where you have a Mudboy and Gastrodon on the lead, which has one weakness, which is a double weakness to grass. Thus, we have two answers to grass in the back. We've got Dragalge as your safe swap and Moltres as your sweeper. Pretty straightforward line. We've seen Mudboy plus Flyer in the past, and here it is once again. The next team, team number 4, is a team that was popularized by FP Sticks, I believe. You have Greninja on the lead, which is weak to fighting, fairy, electric, and grass, and bug. So Scizor makes a nearly perfect core defensively because it resists all of those except for grass, which is neutral, but you have super effective Poison Sting and Sludge Bomb for that, which makes a really nice core. And then you have Dusclops just as your safe swap. The next team we're taking a look at, team number 5, has the brand new Shadow Giratina Altered, and no surprise with its unique typing, it finds itself in the safe swap position. Steelix is a lead for this team, weak to ground, fire, and fighting. Giratina resists fire and fighting on the safe swap with strong bulk, great typing, and solid fast and charge move options. I do want to mention that Dragon Breath Giratina looks equally viable, as does Ancient Power for coverage. This line is built in an ABB style, where both Pokemon in the back are weak to Ghost and Fairy, so Giratina is meant to lure those out to allow Annihilate to sweep. I suppose you could run it in the opposite direction, have Annihilate as the safe swap, and then Giratina in the back to sweep. Both would work, because the Annihilate Steelix core is also very strong, because Annihilate is weak to Psychic, it's weak to Fairy, and it's weak to Flying, which are all resisted by Steelix. The next team we're going to take a look at, team number 6, is a team that was popularized by the man himself, Home Slice Henry. This team is extremely versatile and neutral into the majority of the meta. Regidrago and Fortress cover each other's weaknesses fairly well, and Runerigus has great bulk and fast and charge moves for just in general. So for pacing, I think Henry opted for Brutal Swing over Shadow Ball, which is also what I would have done had I run Runerigus, just so that you have kind of a bait move. And it's important in the Scizor matchup if you run into one on the lead, because it's 5-4 pacing to the Brutal Swing, whereas it's 5-5 to the Night Slash. So if they go straight Night Slash as opposed to Trailblaze, you can actually win that matchup, assuming they don't get a boost. The next team, team number 7, is one of the only ABA style teams that you'll ever see recommended on this channel. Usually I don't think ABA teams are very strong unless there is extremely common ABB teams, absolutely, like just every single game. That's the only way that ABA normally works. Otherwise, ABA I don't really feel is too strong. That said, this one is kind of an exception, because for one, it's very common towards a higher elo, and I'm going to explain kind of why. The way this team functions is basically just 2-shield Marowak. If you get a bad lead, specifically one that you're ABA weak to, aka like Gastrodon is also weak to whatever is on the lead, then you just play it out and 2-shield through it with Marowak. If you're ABB strong to it, then Araquanid is your safe swap. And then of course you have 2 very bulky Pokemon in the back that don't require shields. Araquanid also conveniently covers the weaknesses of both the lead and the closer, which is what you want in an ABA style team. Marowak is weak to grass, water, and ice, whereas Gastrodon is weak to fighting, ground, and water. Not only that, the fast move pressure alone is extremely strong, and ground and rock cover the majority of the meta, which is why this team works. The next team, team number 8, is one of the first teams that I showcased at the start of the new season, and would you believe it if I told you it still works? I believe I had Dusclops instead of Lapras, but I think Lapras is even better than Dusclops. Because for the lead you have Dedenne, which has 2 weaknesses, and that is ground and poison, which Gligar resists both of, and Lapras can hit for super effective on both of, because that's Psywave for the poisons, which it can hit for super effective damage, and then Sparkling Aria hits the ground for super effective damage. You also have some very solid bulk between the back 2 Pokemon, especially if you run the non-Shadow Gligar, so you can actually use your shields early on Dedenne and boost that defense when necessary and let it get completely out of hand. Both Pokemon in the back can function as safe swaps as well, because Dedenne covers the majority of their weaknesses as well. When you think about it, Gligar is weak to water, Dedenne covers that with electric, and then you have fighting and electric weakness on Lapras, which are both resisted on Dedenne. Dedenne, of course, if it ran into like a Mudboy, but it's like Gastrodon, both Pokemon are decent in the back for that. And then also the core between Lapras and Gligar is also fairly strong, because Gligar resists electric and fighting as well, and has Fury Cutter for darks, which Lapras has Psywave resisted on, and Dedenne has the fairy typing for. So really strong team that can work in nearly almost any order, which is how you know a team is really strong, especially for an ABC style line. The next team we're going to take a look at is Toedscruel, Tentacruel, and Carbink. One cannot simply overshadow the new Mud Slapper in team number 9. This Pokemon has a very unique typing that actually makes it pair extremely well with its water brethren, Tentacruel. Tentacruel, when you think about it, is weak to electric and ground, both of which are resisted on Toedscruel. And then Carbink, as a rock throw user in the back, hits all of Toedscruel's weaknesses for super effective damage. Toad is weak to ice, flying, bug, and fire, and then Tentacruel also resists 3 of those for a very solid ABC style line. The next team, team number 10, mixes 3 Pokemon in the top 10 that function pretty well together. Diggersby is weak to fighting, grass, ice, and water, and Jumpluff covers all of those except for ice, of course. Fortunately, Diggersby has Fire Punch for ice coverage, and there aren't too many ice in this meta. That said, Jellicent also resists 3 of those typings as well, except for grass. Jellicent also picks up an electric and a dark weakness. Jumpluff neutralizes electric damage with its grass typing and hits dark for super effective damage with Fairy Wind. You could also opt for non-Shadow Jumpluff with Energy Ball so that you have neutral coverage into the electric type Pokemon as well. And then of course Jumpluff is weak to Rock, Ice, Poison, Flying, and Fire. Jellicent and Diggersby covers the majority of those weaknesses either offensively or defensively as well. The final team that we're going to take a look at, team number 11, is my very own Runerigus team with Tinkaton on the lead and Gallipod and Rune in the back. This is an ABC style line where Tink is weak to Fire and Ground, which is covered by Gallipod. Rune can hit Fire for super effective damage as well with Rock Tomb, and then the Rune plus Gallipod core is also very strong. Rune is weak to Dark, Ice, Water, Grass, and Fury Cutter Gallipod does well into all of those. I would also recommend Brutal Swing over Shadow Ball on Rune for pacing and baiting potential. I just think even though it's non-stab, if you're going to build all the way up, you're probably going to full send the Rock Tomb either way. You're not going to go for the Shadow Ball in most situations. And if you run Shadow Ball, you're completely walled by Diggersby, whereas at least with Brutal Swing, you can hit for neutral damage. But yeah, that's going to be it for me for this video. Thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, peace.